Kakbhushundi had finished telling the story of Sri Ram. But even though the story was over, the questions were not. Garuda had several queries, and so Kakbhushundi was happy to respond to them. After all, Garuda had proved himself to be the ideal listener. He had a pure mind, a noble character, and he had listened attentively with humility, faith, and devotion. When such a listener is found, then the ideal narrator like Kakbhushundi will never withhold anything from him. The other birds were only too happy to be present at this satsang between their beloved Guru and his most exalted visitor. Garuda first wanted to know how Kakbhushundi spent his whole day. So Kakbhushundi pointed to the three trees close to the banyan tree beneath which they were seated, and said that he divided his time between these four trees. Early morning he meditated under the peepal tree. Then as the day progressed, he moved beneath the pakri tree and did japa. Thereafter he seated himself under the shade of the mango tree and performed a mental puja of Sri Ram. That means that in his mind he completed all the various steps of a physical puja, such as offering a throne and flowers to Sri Ram and so on. Then, in the evening, he sat under the banyan tree there where they were all currently seated, and he narrated the story they had just finished listening to. Garuda then wanted to know the reason for these four different spiritual practices and why they were done in that specific sequence. You see, said Kakbhushundi, meditation is done on the nature of Bhagwan. Japa is done of his name, and puja is performed to his form. And last but not least, the stories that follow in the evening describe Sri Ram's virtues and leelas. Meditation is done early morning when the mind is fresh and peaceful. It is a very subtle practice. As the day progresses, the mind becomes externalized. Therefore, the spiritual practice too should become a little more gross. So then I move to the pakri tree and do japa of Sri Ram's name. Japa requires both the mind and the speech. Later in the day, I do puja, which is offered to Sri Ram's form. Puja engages the body, senses, speech, and mind. Finally, in the evening, I tell the story of Sri Ram. That is precisely the time of the day when the effects of tamoguna, such as fatigue, are setting in. Listening to stories at that time is a good way to keep the mind ever engaged in Bhagwan. Then Garuda wanted to know when Lord Shiva first met Kakbhushundi. So Kakbhushundi told that story. After the demise of Sati Devi, which is another story by itself, Lord Shiva, he said, wandered about in grief, spending his time listening to the Ram Katha whenever he had the opportunity. Once during his wanderings, something caught his attention on Meru Parvat. One of its peaks was bathed in a golden light. Lord Shiva scaled the peak and beheld my ashram. He saw these four trees spread out, and he was struck by the variety and number of birds here. The sweet sound of their voices enchanted him. So he assumed the form of a swan and approached this very spot. He remained here for the duration of the whole story, and then, totally enraptured, he returned to Kailash, his abode. What is noteworthy, said Kakbhushundi, is that Lord Shiva was very downcast when he arrived. But this story uplifted him completely. That shows that when one is feeling low, one must listen to the stories of Bhagwan. In fact, in every mental state, joyful or sad, one should listen to these stories. Look at me, said Kakbhushundi. I continue to experience the same joy each time I narrate this story, and I have been doing this for kalpas. Garuda remained silent while tears glistened in his eyes. Taking advantage of this pause, Kakbhushundi said that it was he who now had a question for Garuda. Tell me, Garuda, how did you get deluded and thus end up coming here to listen to me tell the story of Sri Ram? So Garuda told his story. During the battle of Lanka, he said, Indrajit, the favorite son of Ravan, one day waged such a fierce battle that Ram, Lakshman, Sugriv, and Hanuman all found themselves tied up in the Nagpash, a special lethal serpent-like weapon that was let loose by Indrajit. Seeing the predicament of Sri Ram and others, Muni Narada called me because eagles, as you know, eat serpents. I was able to cut through the binding serpentine weapon and free all those trapped by it. At that time, I could not help wondering whether Sri Ram was really the all-pervading Brahman, the lord and controller of Maya. If he really was that, then how come he got bound by the Nagapash of Indrajit and rendered so helpless? What kind of an avatar was this, I wondered. When this misgiving arose in my mind, I confided it to Muni Narad, and I was finally directed to go and meet Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva knew Sri Ram's supreme glory, and he informed me that what I needed was to listen to the story of Sri Ram from someone who was devoted to him and in a place where the story was continuously narrated. That way, said Lord Shiva, I would absorb the story completely and all my doubts and confusions would disappear for always. With these words, Garuda bowed down to Kakbhushundi and said, having listened to the whole story, deep love for Sri Ram has taken root in my heart. I am thus most grateful that I got deluded because it proved to be a great blessing in disguise. Because of it, I got to listen to the story of Ram, and now I have developed great love for him. But now night was fast descending, yet Garuda's questions were not over. So Kakbhushundi assured him that they would continue their question and answer session the next day. With great joy, all the birds bowed down to Kakbhushundi and melted away in the deepening darkness.